Hello fellow map makers, welcome to tonight's live map making session. Hope you're doing fine and enjoy the dark and grey winter weather here to give you some time to make great maps. Thank you, Sue. Sound is good. Excellent. Good to hear. I'm Ralph Schermann of Profanity Software, and I'm here tonight to show you how to do city walls on a battle map, and at the same time show off some of the beautiful new symbols by Mike Schley, and also show you how to set up new sheets and new sheet effects in Campaign Cartographer, which we'll do in the course of setting up the city walls. All right. As always, if you've got any questions, put them in the chat. We've got lots of knowledgeable people here who'll be happy to help out, and if possible, I'll be happy to show stuff on screen as we go along, divert into little excursions into other stuff as far as possible. It's not too much work we have to do today, so I'm gonna take my time and hopefully explain a lot and show you how stuff works. So let's see how this goes. Here you see already a little example map I did for the free monthly symbols released this month, the Siege stuff by Mike. And in the course of that, I set up my city walls and noticed that basically the default templates for the battle maps don't have, they have walls on there, but not set up to do multi-level stuff like city walls. And I thought that might be a good opportunity to show some sorry, I got distracted there for a moment, and I take the opportunity to show you how to set up sheets and sheet effects in this map style. Alright, let's start out. I'm going to use the Dungeons of Schley battle map style that we are using, and that fits the monthly symbols by Mike very well, so we'll stay with that. For that, I'm going to start a new map by clicking the new map button up here on the file toolbar. I'm not going to save my changes here, and then we are going to choose the map type Dungeons, and from there we scroll down to symbol set 4, the Dungeons of Schley, and then I'm going to click next and set the size of my map. I'm going to keep it fairly small, but perhaps not quite as small as other maps, because I want to do a section of city map, perhaps a city gate, and for that we do need a little bit of space. And then we click finish and save the map in our working folder. In this case, I'm choosing our mapping folder. I'm going to name this file City Walls, save this, and here's our blank map to start with. Alright, so we've got our background here, a little bit grass on earth background, not too large a map. Gonna turn on grid and snap, and I might even add a grid already at this point so people can see my grid use a little bit better, because the grid points are otherwise a bit hard to see on the video. So I'm going to add a grid first. For that, I'm going to go into the draw menu, hex or square overlay, and I'm going to do a square grid, add 5 foot to the grid. I don't want any labels on that, and I keep set the snap grid to match our newly added drawn grid, apply, and there's my grid on the map. I'll make it a little bit less obvious by applying the sheet effects. the grid already has a transparency effect added to that. If you edit that, you can see it sets the grid to 50% opacity, and then it turns out a little bit more gray. All right, so what do we want to do? We want to draw a city map. Or a city wall, not a city map, a city wall. And we do have wall buttons here. See, if I right-click that, that brings up both corridors with walls and walls alone. For example, I could take the 1 foot wide grey brick wall and draw this on the map. Let's do that. Zoom in a bit. And we can see we get a nice little narrow grey wall, which might be useful as an interior or exterior wall for a building, but for a large city wall, sorry, this is not suitable. So how are we going to set this up? Well, might be wanting to draw also buildings or interior parts of the city wall, and I'll keep the wall sheet for that. And so I'm going to set up a new city wall sheet that allows me to draw the city walls on its own separate sheet. And for that, I'm going to go in here and just in the Symbols, Sheets and Effects dialog and add a new sheet and call that Walls City. I'll keep the walls at the front. I'm not just call it city walls, but Wall City for a reason. I'll show you that in a moment. And just add it here, right, for the moment, right behind the walls sheet. And because I want to start out with the same kind of look, I'm just going to grab all the sheet effects here, select them, choose copy, go to the city walls sheet, paste them, and just create a copy of the effects on the new sheet. All right. And now if I go into my walls selection of tools again, I'm going to choose the wall current fill current width version of the tool. It's the brick gray. Oh, actually I can stay with the brick gray current width. And if I take a look at the properties of the tool, it's set up to go on the walls sheet, but walls with an asterisk. And the asterisk means is that if my current sheet starts with walls and then something else following that, it'll also use that sheet instead of just the plain walls sheet. And that's why I set up my new sheet, the name it was. And that way we can use the same tool to get my stuff on the new sheet. Here we go. And but what I'm going to do is, because I basically don't want to draw a line for my city wall, I want to draw a closed shape. So I'm just going to do closure, use this to close the shape and draw a polygon instead of just a path. Right, here we are. For the moment we're on the wall sheet, but we're going to switch to wall city and now use the tool to draw on the sheet. And so let's say I know that one square is 5 foot wide, so let's just draw a, say 15 foot wide city wall as a polygon right across our whole map. Here we are, and if we go in, we can see that the polygon we've drawn has the same effects applied as the one on our previous wall. Let's do a quick list here. Oh, there's the cat. Hi, Asa. I had to fight her for my desk chair when I came in for the video, but she's taking it well that I had to chairs away from my chair spot. Otherwise, I'd be sitting on the edge of the chair for the whole session. All right, okay, I'm not gonna select the grid and do it. And here I can see the path is on the wall sheet, the polygon is on the wall city sheet. And I'm now also gonna erase that wall we drew earlier. Alright, so we do have a plain wall. Let's see, perhaps we do want to change our fill style. We've got the brick here, which is perhaps quite nice for a street or so, but for a city wall, not quite what I have in mind. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change properties. Prior doesn't work because I didn't do that stuff in between, so I'm just going to select the wall and have a look what else. I quite like the cobbles, but those might not also not quite be appropriate for the city wall. We've got the natural stone. Let's have a quick look. All that looks might be nice for the granulations or stuff, but not for the top of the wall when people walk along. So I'm gonna change this again and take a look here. Natural stone paving gray. I think that's all the little colorful the normal stone paving here. Yeah, and I think that's nice for the top of the wall. Works well. All right, so far so good. Now we do need some granulations on the wall. For that I'm gonna need, because I do need to set that off from the background of the wall, again with sheet effects. I do need a new sheet again. So what I'm gonna do is just same again, walls, and just call it walls top for now. And this time I'm gonna choose the stone I was talking about earlier, the natural stone here. Let's take the middle brightness, and I want a width, say, I know this is 15 feet, well, let's say 3 feet, perhaps. Now, this time I've set up the properties beforehand, and now I should be able to just use the wall setting with the default settings, or with the current settings here, wall, current fill, current width, and then go in and draw these along the edges of our city wall. And this time what we haven't done is we haven't applied any sheet effects to our new sheet, and that's why it looks so plain and simple. And so what we're going to do, we're just for now just going to grab the same effects again, paste them on the new sheet, and there we do have them set off from the top of our wall. We might perhaps find it a little bit too dark, our glow on here, so we can go in and have a look. Let's see, it's the outside glow, that's the one I was talking about, and it's got a blur radius of 5 feet. It's probably just not the strong one, because it's a strength of 0. Let's have a look for the second glow, and yes, that's a 25% glow, so let's halve that to 12.5% and see, apply. Yeah, and it's not quite as strong anymore. We still got a little bit of darker glow on the outside. That's because it overlaps with the glow from the wall beneath, and that's looking fine. Yes, Remy is right. What I should have done with the cat is rolled the desk chair nicely, quietly away and taken a simple kitchen chair or something as replacement, so I don't have to disturb the royalty of the cat. So shame on me. All right, so we've got a railing basically on the city wall here, but it's not a real, it's not granulations yet. So we do need something else on top again to have the granulations stand out from the background, and for that I'm going to use the same color and again a new sheet. See, we are creating new sheets all the time. Let's just call it granulations, walls granulations. And again, this time I'm going to grab the sheet effects right away, paste them. And now we have different ways of adding this. What I could do is I could just go in and draw new sections here, or the granulations in pieces. Choose the path, or I could choose the drawing tool again. Comes down to the same thing, and draw these as paths. And I should also switch them to the correct sheet. I've drawn them on the same sheet as the ones before. So I need to right click on the sheets and effects, choose move to sheet, select my new sections, but deselect all the other stuff, do it and put them on walls granulations. Refresh, and there you can see what I'm doing. I'm applying a new set of effects again on top of everything else, so it looks like these sections of the wall stand out higher than the rest. That's one way to draw it, but it can also be done a little bit quicker if by applying a line style. Let's try that on the lower section here. For that, I'm gonna go into the line styles. I do need to create a new one here. Let's call it wall top. Edit the line style. And now I do need to set my pattern length. My pattern is going to be 10 foot wide. And at the moment it just says draw 1.0 or 100% of the full length. So we'll just get a solid line again. This is basically the setting for the solid line. So what we're going to do is we're going to put in 0.5 for half and replace that, saying we are drawing now half of the full length, and then insert after that the next section is we skip half of the full length of the pattern for the next section. So we draw 5 feet of the line, then skip 5 feet of the line, then then draw 5 feet again, and so on. What we also need to change here is we need to uncheck paper scale, otherwise it will zoom with the look of the view, and also not scale the whole thing to fit the ends exactly. And we can either choose draw first, skip the first section, but we are gonna draw here for this one. It doesn't really change much, except that basically you swap the parts that are drawn and the ones that are skipped. Okay, and let's give this a try. Check the path, first point and the last point. And here you can see we've got exactly the same effect. we've just drawn one path and don't need to draw all the individual paths as we've done up here. So it's easier. The problem is it's going to be harder to manipulate if you want to take out individual sections and so on. But we'll stick with this and try it out, and gonna remove the two we've drawn individually and also do the same at the top section here of our wall. And there we got the crenellation on the other side as well. Looks pretty nice. So we've got a nice city wall here. If the plain city wall sections is all you need, well, we are done here at this point. You could even save this as a template with all the extra sheets added in and use this for future maps. I'll use the opportunity to show you quickly the actually siege symbols, and then we're going to look at adding some extra stuff to our city wall. So to access the siege symbols in a Dungeons of Slay map, if you're not loading them up right after installation, you just click the All Catalogs button, and then you've got the monthly catalog settings here. For all the ones we've already done for the Dungeons of Slay, and the 8th one here is monthly, is the siege weapons. There you've also have a second setting here of just siege weapons. They are just a copy of each other with different names, so they are easier to find. And there are our different symbols. Let's make these a bit larger, so you can see them better. And there you can see the beautiful ballista, battering ram, a covered ram, a wonderful cannon, a catapult, a pitch cauldron to pour pitch over the attackers, broken siege ladder, a standing siege ladder, a siege tower, and the awesome trebuchet. Alright, so let's set this to normal again, or my normal, and see what else we want to do with the city wall. So for example, you might want to add some towers to your city wall. And first let's start, perhaps you want to have a shadow, a larger shadow on your city wall. That's simply done by adding a wall shadow to the base sheet. Here, walls, add wall shadow directional, and there you can set the size and with units using the global sun direction. That way we can adjust it and it will match any walls or any shadows on city roofs and so on. And we should also move it up, so it's the first effect on there. Okay, we've done. Yes, I should put it on the walled city sheet and not on the walls sheet. Delete. There we are. That's a bit harsh. And then we do need it in the other direction, so the glow doesn't get applied to it itself. There we are. What it doesn't do, it doesn't give you a nice granulated shadow, basically. If you wanted to be exact with the shadow, you would have to draw it by hand, because due to the lack of real 3D information, you can't have the wall casting a shadow in exactly the same way as it would appear in reality. Alright, so we've got the shadow on here. We could also add a little bit to the granulations, so they cast a little shadow on the inside, but I'll skip that for now. I'll just stick with one main shadow for the city wall. Too many shadows will just muddy up your map and make it too dark in general anyway. Good, so I want to add a tower, let's say a round tower. And for that I will need a new set of sheets again, because it's going to be on top of everything else with its new sheet effects, so we do need a new set of sheets for that. So wall tower, I'm going to grab the effects from the city sheet, and now I'm just going to use extract properties on our main background for the city wall, and then switch to our walls tower new sheet again. And then I'm just going to use the circle command, start in the middle of the wall, and draw the tower here. See, it nicely fits into everything else. Cast the shadow, and we might even make the shadow a little bit longer to show that it's higher than the rest of the wall. There we are. And now I do need the granulation on top of the tower. For that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide the wall city sheet for the moment, and then use extract properties on our first part, walls top. So I'm just extracting the properties again, and if I use extract properties, it will always pick up the first entity in the drawing order that it finds underneath my click, and it would have found the wall city sheet entity if I've done that with that showing, and that's why I hid it for the moment. And I do need to add a new walls tower top again. Grab the settings from the walls top, paste. Okay, and now I'm just gonna use the circle again. If I choose that, my previous center point is pre-selected, so I can just right click and I get the same point again. Put that on here, and there's my granulation on top of the tower. And then I can also add the individual granulations. For that I'm going to something similar again, just hiding wall city on walls top. Use extract properties on that line, show them again, and add walls tower granulation. Grab the sheet effects and paste them on here, and then draw the circle again, same thing on top of the previous one, and there are my new set of granulations. We do have a little bit of a transparency acne problem here because we are overlapping two similar sheet effects. So if you get these errors, that's because pixels with exactly the same color overlap, and Campaign Cartographer gets confused which sheet effects to apply. And one way to avoid that is to add in a separating sheet without sheet effects and a solid color. And I'll quickly show that with on this sheet here for the moment to show it to you once. Basically, just let's call it separator 1. Okay, it goes between the tower top and the tower granulations. No sheet effects on that one. And I'm going to hide everything else here for the moment to make that easier. And now I'm gonna copy this to my granulation circle, to that sheet. Separator 1. And let's change the properties of the circle here to fill style solid and neutral color. Show everything again. No. Didn't quite manage to get rid of that. That's strange. Got rid of the bit down here, but this bit is a bit obnoxious. Not quite sure why this is. Oh well, gonna live with that for the moment. Otherwise I'm gonna go down the rabbit hole and finding the specific yeah, so there seems to be some kind of flaw in the line. It's probably because of the line style. Line styles can be a bit tricky, and it's applied to a circle, so that is probably the cause there. Oh well, we could give that a try. No, I said I'm not going down that rabbit hole here. I'll just keep it as it is for the moment. So that's one way to set up the tower. This is the tower that's higher than the rest of the city wall, obviously, and rises on top of that. Of course, you could also have towers which are simply... Okay, yeah, that's the problem with line styles on circles. See, if I zoom out here, I get these interruptions because the style can't exactly scale to that anymore. So we might take a look here and see whether scale to fit ends might actually work better on the map. Yes, it does a bit on the circle. Then we'll just we do have a section in here. Alright, so that's not perfect there. We'll just leave this as we had it at the moment. If I have time, I can show you a little bit later how to set up a ring of granulations without using a line style. Alright, so we've got the tower here, and what if I wanted to change this to a tower that is set within the wall, basically at the same height as the rest of the wall? In that case, you can just place this on the same sheets as the previous ones. So let's see if I do a copy here of this to in here, and then put that on the different sheets. Let's just show the tower sheets for the moment. Oh, no, we do need this. So there we go. And to move to sheet by fill style, not our natural stone, but our stone paving, which we used. Okay, but not this one. Do it and put this on the normal walled city sheet. And then the walls tower top here, move to sheet, that goes on the walls top, and then these two move to sheet, go on the walls granulations. Now I'm going to show everything again. And now we would need to remove all the granulations here, the double ones, but then the whole thing would be integrated. Basically, I would need to break these lines here and the circle, so we've got gaps from here to here, and from here to here, from here to here, from here to here, and then the whole thing would be like one complete platform at the same height level as the rest of the city wall. But that's not what I want to do here. I want to just quickly show that to you. So instead we're just going to delete this for the moment. But what I want to make the tower into a gate. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this a little bit, the whole thing. See that I grab it at the correct point. There we are. And copy the tower again from its center point to here. And now I do have the two towers of a gate. And I can now either connect could create a connection of the two towers of the same height, or assume that the middle section of the gate is lower like the rest of the wall. But in general, I do have the look of two towers and a gate underneath. What I could now do is draw a street level here for the floor tool, and I'm going to use the cobbles for that. Say the northern part is my city section, so we've got cobbled streets there, and then I do have dirt road on the outside, and from there I could start adding edges, details to the roads and along the side of the roads. So that's a good start for city wall here, and from here I want to do a little more details, like adding stairs on the inside, and doing perhaps a little stuff like showing the interior of the gate here. See how we can do that. Alright, so see how we would go about adding some stairs. First off, we might want to add a little platform here on the side, basically an extension of the wall, and remove the granulations there. So what I'm going to do to make this a little bit easier, I think, is because I'm noticing I need to manipulate the granulations differently from the rest of the wall. So I'm going to try and set up its own layer for that, and that's going to make it much easier to manipulate it independently of the city wall itself, because then I can hide, show, freeze, and thaw individual layers. So how I want to do that? I want to keep my baseline on the walls layer, which is fine. So I'm using extract properties here. Should show me that the city on the wall itself is on the walls layer, but I do want new layers for the two lines of granulations. So I'm going to start on by just adding these. So similar to the sheets, I'm gonna name them walls top and walls granulations. And then I'm gonna change the layer by fill style. I don't know, it's not my stone paving, but my natural stone that I use for this. And add this to walls top first, and then change layer prior, combine and line style. I'm selecting by line style the one I've set up fresh, the wall top style. Okay, so I've still got 4 lines picked, which is fine. The 2 lines on top and bottom of the wall and the 2 circles for the towers. Do it, and that goes on walls granulations. Alright, so much the good. First off, I want to create an extension, basically a platform here inside the between the tower and the city wall where a stairway can lead up to. And for that I'm going to use the insert node, because I know this is a polygon. I've got as the top of the wall there, so I should be able to just add points to that. Let's see, one here. So now I need to like this, one here, let's do it here, and here, and now we've got this extended. Now I do need to break basically a gap into here so people can actually walk from the ladder that's going to go up here onto the top of the wall. And for that I'm going to use the break command, and now I'm going to use my new layers and going to freeze all but the wall's top layer. See, I've broken a gap into this line here, and because if I hadn't taken that precaution with freezing the layers, I would probably hit the background underneath, and that would have made it much more awkward and complicated. But still not broken the other line here, and for that I'm going to go to walls granulations, freeze the other one, and now use on this one. Same effect, and now I've got my gap here where people can walk from the stairways I want to place. Load up stairs, and we've got some nice stone stairs here going up and down. Let's just grab this one and scale it to fit. Should be double size basically, so size 2, and we should put that on a flat symbols sheet. Here we go. Yeah, there's my stair coming up to the wall. Now I'm going to do the same thing because I want it to be neat and symmetric. Going to do it on the other side of the wall as well. So I'm going to go to the walls sheet, freeze everything else for the moment. Let's zoom out so I can see what I did there on the other side. Add a point here. And I've gone too far north, if I see that correctly. Yeah, this extends farther, so I'm just going to use the dynamic node edit to move them down into their proper place. Yeah, gonna switch. Oh, that's the sheets, not the layers. Sweet. Walls top. Break my gap into the wall here. Again, I'm still not quite the same as I did previously. On the other side, I'm going to fix this in a moment. And the granulations. break them. There we are. Walls. And adjust this to here and to here. And then I just need the stairs again all the way around. And there we are. And that way you can do little extensions. If you wanted to, you could put in a granulation in here. Perhaps we're saying they don't have the proper big granulation there, but just some smaller, less wide railing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to walls top. Same here with the sheets. And I know I had 3 foot wide granulations, so let's make this half that width, 1.5. And now I'm going to use my wall, my walls, current width. There we are. I've not changed the fill style. I'm still on solid, so I'm going to change properties, prior, do it, and the fill style to my natural stone I've been using. There we are. Also here for the next section of railing I want to draw basically using the same tool again. I should not, I've been going through the all drawing tools button. It's easier to go through the walls button. That way I do get only shown the wall tools and not everything else. And there's my railing there. Nice and easy, and so we've got a way to get on top of the wall here. Alright, so let's say I wanted to try out myself. I haven't actually done this yet, but I want to try it. Say I want to also show the interior gate space here at the same time as the outside walls. I don't want to make separate maps for that. I just want that section. I'm going to do that, and I was thinking I could make the wall top transparent and then add details underneath that. And for that to work, we do need to draw the stuff underneath first, or basically we do need to make a separate section for this, because otherwise we'd have everything else transparent as well, and that's not what we want. So let's cut out that section and create put that on its own separate sheet. So on the wall sheet, I'm going to hide everything else. No, I'm not on the wall sheet, I'm on the wall city sheet. There we are. Oh, I do need an indication where my space exactly is, so I do need to show the towers so I can see where that is. There we go. I'm going to use extract properties first on that, so I do have all the settings set because I want to keep those around. And now I'm going to break this into pieces. Yeah, we've got this broken down, and why exactly am I showing the walls? I've got the wall tops sheets accidentally displayed. There we are. And now I'm gonna breaking that whole polygon at these points, made it into a path basically, because the endpoints are not connected anymore. And I want to make it back into a polygon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click the explode button, choose path to poly, select the two lines, press D for do it, and now they are polygons again. All right, and now I do want a section here that I can make transparent. So I'm gonna add walls city transparent sheet, if I can spell that. There we are. And I'm going to draw the missing section on top of that. And there we go. And I'm also going to apply the same sheet effects here. And I'm also going to add a transparency effect of 50% opacity. Show all. And I think I need to move the transparency effect up in the list, otherwise it gets... No, that's not how it's supposed to look. No, I'm gonna move it down. I think it does interfere a little bit too much with the wall shadow effect. Let's see how it looks if I hide the directional wall shadow. No, that doesn't change for the moment. See, yeah, that's a bit better. I can increase the transparency, the opacity again. So we do see a little bit of the texture there on top of everything else. Yeah, I say Sue's glows don't work nicely with transparency effects, so I'm going to leave out the glow for that. I don't need it much anyway, because it's covered up by the granulations there. And now I can add stuff like interior walls and the gate in there. So what I want to do is I want to do a normal walls. Grab my wall tools here. I'm going to use the brick gray walls for that. And just going to add some interior walls here at this point. And perhaps a little bit here to the interior. And then I'm going to add doors. Big double wood doors. Make them a little bit larger. There we are. And this will probably... No, it's fine. It's on the sheet below all the tower stuff. Finished. And there's my city gate, which you can see through the transparency of that. And you probably want to add more paving floor here in front of the tower, or on the whole gate here. Let's draw a little bit of floor here. Oops, that's not quite enough. I have everything else frozen, so I'm going to thaw the layers. There we are. And what I want to do is on the floors, I want to disable the glow and add a little edge fade instead. Just one, or let's say 3 feet. And this way it blends more nicely into the surroundings there. And now you can go in and start adding your siege symbols to the map. So again, I'm going to load up the catalog with the siege weapons, and here say we want to depict an attack on the city gate, and we could then start off by perhaps increasing the size a little bit of our battering ram. Place this here in front. And then it's all still a bit close for actual siege works. You wouldn't place your trebuchets or something as close to a city wall you were besieging. That's really even closer than bowshot. Basically, you could throw rocks at that by hand. So it doesn't make much sense. But if I wanted to make a true scale map, this would have to be much larger. And scaling ladders. Okay, this scaling ladder you would want to not place on the shadow casting sheet, but move to sheet. Come on. Not the grid. Do it and put that on the symbols flat sheet or the symbols low one, so it doesn't cast a shadow like the larger structures. And so on. And now you've got the setup for a city wall, which you can build your siege around. Yeah, as Vivian asked, that's the glass ceiling city wall. Very handy design. You can always see what's going on underneath your feet. All right, and I think, yeah, we're pretty much done. The hour is full, or almost full, and not much sense in starting other features on the city wall here. Hope you were able to take a little bit away, working with sheets and setting up new sheets to use with existing drawing tools, copying sheet effects, doing walls at different levels, though show different heights, and how you can do that on a battle map that even doesn't have all the setup ready for you to go. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you again next week. In the meantime, keep up the mapping and share your maps on the forum and Facebook. And have a good time, everybody. Bye-bye.